Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV. We're here at 8th Cloud Expo, New York, and one of our absolute prime partners from the get-go, Pete Malcolm, Abiquo, CEO thereof. Thank you for joining us, Pete, in New York City.
Thank you very much for having us.
And I know that you've got a million and one things to do, business to be going on, and your huge stand in back, but I've got to ask you this, because clearly every Cloud Expo has a slightly different feel to it. This one has a majorly different feel to it, and I'm not going to say what I think it is, but do you agree with me that there's been some kind of inflection point in the industry between November on the West Coast and now here in New York City?
Yeah, I think it's very clear. Particularly the enterprise customers have now realized that there are real solutions out there and are really starting to move. And I think that's really noticeable at this show.
So, let's call a spade a spade. You're almost perhaps saying that there was a bit too much hype going on, and now thank goodness we've got reports coming out, we've got real solutions, as you're saying. So it's now getting real.
I think that's right. I think it wasn't just a bit too much hype. I think there was a lot too much hype. And I think what's happened now is with some of the comparative reports that have come out, those vendors who are really talking up what they didn't really have, everybody wants to be cloud. I think we're now sorting out who really does have a solution, and that's clearing the fog somewhat. A way to go still, but people are now realizing that there are real solutions that really can solve their issues. And what we've been trying to do here is to, particularly in our keynote sessions, is to drive that message forward again and say, okay, yes, there are real solutions, but now let's start talking about what those real solutions need to have to really make them acceptable for your enterprise or you as a hosting provider to use.
Now, when you say that in terms of what they really need to have, do you mean that in a sense organizations, companies have got to, they've got to raise their game a bit to get the best out of the cloud?
I think that's right. I mean, we all know that cloud technology is based around the self-service model, and people have tended to think that self-service is, I've got it, it's got self-service, I'm away. But there are a whole pile of things that self-service has to have in order to make it a complete solution. Self-service must mean that to provision something, you don't have to go and talk to an IT guy. Otherwise, if you do, it's not self-service. And we've talked about it on the compute side for a while, and I think most vendors have got there on the compute side. But you need to be able to provision your storage and particularly provision your networking as well. If you have to go back to IT to provision a virtual network to make your thing work, that's no good. You've just blown the model.
And, sometimes when I hear you speak, I am wondering whether you are still a couple of steps, if not 7 steps ahead in your huge 7-league boots. Is that any kind of concern that Abiquo is almost such a thought leader and such a pathfinder that you're opening up a gap, or do you think the market is coming with you?
I think the market is coming with us. We clearly hope that we're staying ahead, and we don't do this thought leadership stuff to allow everybody to catch us up too quickly. That's our intent to. But we really want to deliver on what we're talking about, and that's what's it's turned. I think that's the inflection point. Is it's all about delivery now, and you can see that in the examples of customers that have now rolled our solution out and grown it and are willing to talk about it. I mean, that's...
Well, why don't we talk about it too? I know that, from the Forrester report onwards, it's marvellous to see we're almost entering for the first time into the public domain on some of your things. So what are Abiquo's sort of most proud customers right now?
So we have, of the ones I can talk about, Bluefire in Australia is a very good example, a hosting provider who are part of the Dimension data group. And they're rolling the solution out across their data centers. And for a hosting provider, the real benefit is in them being able to sell a self-service solution to their customers. And it's a complete environment, and that's what the customers love about it, and because they can do everything, all the compute, storage, and networking. And what the hosting providers love is it takes their cost out of their pay, because they don't have to provision anymore. The customer gets the benefit of doing it, which also benefits the hosting provider. And then on the enterprise side, we've got a number of large enterprises and medium enterprises that are adopting the solution. So One we're very proud of is NTT Data in Japan, but also smaller but very important companies like Round Arch in the US, who were willing to come and talk about the solution at Cloud Expo in a session here.
I mean, and that was a great session, but I think it took a lot of people by surprise. Wait, we know Round Arch, and here they were cozying up to you because they're using you. It was a nice synergy.
Yeah, we're very pleased. I mean, it's always great when a customer will come and talk about what you're doing for them and how you're working together to get them a great outcome. And what Abiquo is really concerned about is making sure that customers are getting value out of the solution. It's for us just selling software is not what it's about. It's getting value for the customer that's really important to us, because that's how we build our reputation.
And how fast can that reputation grow? Even between now, let's say, and November, when we'll speak again, I'm sure, on the West Coast. How fast is this moving?
I think it's moving very fast. The enterprises had quite long sales cycles originally. Those are coming down now. So the volume of in the pipeline is increased dramatically, and the sales cycle time is coming down as people realise that this stuff is real, and we've got better at managing that and understanding what the customer's expectations are and what we need to show them in a proof of concept, but we're still delighted that we win every proof of concept we enter. So
that can't be bad, can it? You're still staffing up, still expanding as a company?
Yeah, still expanding. Again, that's something we have to manage, and that's why we're working with a lot of partners now. Again, we were one of the first vendors in this space to announce a full partner program. We started out with 10 partners of varying sizes right across the globe. That's more than doubled now, and again, we've had a lot of partner inquiries here at the show.
All right, so you're going to have to move fast to keep up with the Abiquo bandwagon, but it's easily done. Go to abiquo.com, otherwise chase this fellow right beside me around this show and see if you can get your business card in his hand. Thanks so much, Pete Malcolm, CEO of Abiquo, for joining us, and thank you for joining us out there on the World Wide Web.